Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting scene in Odessa, The Dark Crusade Season 2. Bet you thought I was going to say Darkness in Dublin like I did last time, but no, I didn't. I did not fuck up this time. 10 out of 10. This evening's scene is due to be set in the Elysium, the Marble Hall. More exactly, it is to take place in the Crimson Room, as it is described here. The main lavish room in the building. This room is composed, as the name suggests, entirely of marble, with large beds and beautiful colored sets, sheets, and large soft pillows. Blah blah blah. Now with the setite flair, which includes very, very beautiful men and women who whiffed and waft between said plinths and benches, offering food, delicacies, and, shall we say, company of the evening to those who may have interest. As you approach the door, your name will be checked on a list by a young woman who keeps herself with a very straight-backed military almost bearing as she will look over a list of names. If you are indeed accepted member of the domain, she will make a denotation on her parchment before allowing you to step inside. The keeper himself this evening has seated himself behind his desk as he is currently seeing to the various different affairs he needs to see to. After all, keeping you lot entertained involves paperwork. So much paperwork. There is soft music, panpipes, and lyres being played from the floor above you. It seems to drift down lazily, almost as if you are in some kind of dream, as the sweet fragrance of the incense touches and pulls ever so slightly at the edges of your senses. And with that, introductions. Whomever wishes to arrive first can do the thing.
I will say there are a number of NPCs wandering around. The list is in the side if anyone wants to approach any of them.
Yeah, Margot will come. And she's wearing some. Can we say that what she's on the overlay is what Lifty gave her?
You know what? Absolutely. That will make him very happy. So probably about 10 paces behind Margot at any given point is Luftig, looking quite pleased with himself.
And say she'll when she walks in, she'll see Morphia. Well, actually, before she'll see Soladrin. Soladrin, it is good to see you again. Thank you for this wonderful Elysium.
One must do one's duty, Primogen. He will bow his head before he will make a denotation on his paper. I assume that you're well this evening.
I am. I am now.
Wonderful. And Master Luftig, so pleasant to see you again.
He bows. He's still looking quite pleased with himself, just in general. But the pleased with himself does not in any way fade as he bows to Soladrin.
Please enjoy the evening. If there's anything I can do to make your stay more comfortable, you have only but to ask.
Oh no, you look very busy, he says, and he just kind of pats the paper as he goes by. That looks like fun for somebody else.
And then she'll go towards Hewart and Hebony, but as she goes, she does have a smile at Morphia, a smile of recognition.
Morphia drops a curtsy as Margot passes. Luftig immediately goes to find somewhere else to be, since Margot is heading straight for Hewart. And Hewart and Hebony both turn to smile and offer various gestures of respect and greeting.
My darlings, how have you been?
Good evening. Such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Hebony, it's been a little while since I've seen you. My eyes have missed seeing the beauty that is your being.
You're too kind, my lady. It is a pleasure to see you as always.
I hope there have been not too many troubles for you.
None that I could not handle.
Good.
Odessa is busy as always.
Remember, you can always come to me if you need anything. I see you as a friend.
I thank you. That is a very generous offer. I will not forget. And likewise, my lady. My Asimite is eager to assist where we can, and I know you take a personal interest in the health of the city.
I do. And she'll smile. After all, a Primogen must not only take care of their clan, but also of an entire city, the way I see it.
An interesting perspective.
Responsibility for my clan. I shall say I may have a special responsibility for my clan, but I'm also I represent my clan in this city. As a member of this, I think it is my duty. Is it not all of our duty to protect the place in which we live?
To protect the place in which we live is an interesting way to phrase it. Is it the place which holds your love?
Sure think.
A stranger approaches the marble palace. When checked at the door, his name seems to be only recently added to the list. As a young man who, well, for the Dark Ages, seems to be in the middle of his life. Because let's face it, the people that are older than 50 are exceptional. Wanders up into the halls of the Elysium and looks around. A little curious, a little dazed, a little lost, perhaps?
Seated next to the entrance door, because that's where his desk is, you'll hear a kind of a
Yes?
You looked lost. I said that I'd see if I could offer some sense of clarity if you were here looking for someone in particular or merely here to while away the evening.
Oh no, I just heard that this was a place of importance and that I should go and take a look myself.
You and I have met very briefly. What was your name again?
That's a good question. Where have we met? Wasn't it on the streets that one night with the one crowd, the one people, and the one person?
Not at all. After all, I tend to hate crowds and that one singular person.
Excellent. I do remember. The Bald Man! Yes! Thank you! Hello.
He'll extend his hand.
I'll extend my own.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Master.
Driston, but please do not address me as such.
As you wish. My name is Salah Hadrin. I am the keeper of this Elysium. Be welcome.
Ah, well, thank you for your hospitality, Keeper.
He will raise a plate of fruit from his desk and he will say, "Do you partake?"
Oh no, sadly I've lost that ability a long, long time ago.
As you say. I'm sure that we can find other delectations here that will be more to your palate.
I'm quite sure. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do I have permission to enter your Elysium, Keeper?
By all means.
Thank you.
Provided, of course, he will say, you do understand the rules.
Do enlighten me. Are they the same as every other domain?
Much the same. There is one additional minor that I should really write somewhere. He scribbles something on a piece of paper. Must make note of that. The prince has expressed the fact that she wishes this Elysium to be unbiased in matters of faith, and that proselytizing should be kept to a minimum.
Out of character, real quick, because I'm an inept language person. What does proselytizing mean?
Preaching.
Ah, gotcha.
But
Trying
what's
to
the death gonna do?
persuade people. Aw.
Thank you. I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
It is something, as I believe, a matter is all faith are welcome here, so attempting to convert one to another is considered to be verbose.
Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you
Right
very
as the
much.
dove walks in. Because serendipity.
Well, why not? The dove will, the dove will quietly enter Elysium, nodding to the. Is Saladrin at the entrance, or is he like a ghoul?
Basically, he has a desk that he sits at quite constantly. The desk is located just as you walk in through the main door of the red room, ostensibly. So it's actually quite a nice desk. Like, it's made of the same kind of exotic dark hardwood. You'd assume maybe some kind of teak. And he sits in a rather comfortable chair behind it. And he has a lot of papers on his desk. But it's basically just inside the door, so you have to pass by him to enter. The logic being, of course, if he has to jump up and disfire someone or forcibly remove them, he's very close to the door. But yeah, so in order to pass him, to get in, you have to directly pass the desk.
She will walk in and nod. She won't engage him in conversation if she doesn't have to. And she will enter.
So, you recently arrived in the city in that case, Monsignor Tristan.
Yes, actually. Only one moon cycle ago.
Where were you prior to this?
Quite a lot of places. I was in Athens, Gianstepe, Constantinople, Sparta, also to a couple of places to the east of here. Planning to go down south in maybe a decade or so. I've been to Eastern Europe as well, the northern region, the southern regions of it. Quite lovely, a little pale, little drought, but hey, one's not complaining.
You, unlike most of our kind, seem to possess this love of travel still. I tend to find that we become rather sedentary.
Well, I am part of a clan of wanderers.
Ah, yes. He'll flick through his notes. Clan Gangrel.
The one and only.
Well, as I've said, you're more than welcome. If you require anything, please let me know.
Most certainly. Thank you. And I will turn and venture into the Elysium.
So yeah, finishing the conversation, well, continuing the conversation, she'll say, the place where I live, I would simply say it is where I reside at the time, where my heart is, where my love is. That would be the place I call home. However, I think both are places to protect. If the place where we all live together in one city, if one part of it is in danger, then it won't be long till the rest is.
Ebony has one eye on the door and both ears on Margot. And she kind of smiles quietly and says, I believe your clanmate and I would fiercely disagree on what it is about a place that makes it worth protecting, but I take your meaning.
She'll
She
nod.
nods to what? But this is a new face. She kind of gestures towards, first towards Dristan, and then her eyes kind of drift towards the dove. 2 new faces.
No, this is the dove, and I have seen Dristan briefly before. Come,
Dristan.
Yes, I remember and just think of. He did introduce himself. Believe he was a member of Clan Gangrel, if I remember.
I had not introduced myself yet to you.
You had in the scene where you had in front of the church.
Nope, I didn't
You
go
had-
into the church.
Yeah, but you introduced yourself before we went to the church, didn't you?
Only with name, but not by clan.
No, only with name. Okay, so she won't say the clan part. My bad. Sorry.
No worse. It's pretty obvious.
I was going to say the only reason I know he's Clan Gangrel, obviously, is because when you're on our little list, it's your name and your clan.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, no, but I thought he had said. But yeah, I knew he had said his name. I thought he had said his name, but my bad. But yeah, he goes, yes, Tristan. I only met him briefly. I know nothing but his name.
He's very comely, isn't he?
He's very what?
Comely, very pretty. He's nice to look at.
Oh, right, I
Isn't
should
he?
note my appearance, shouldn't I?
What is your?
4.
Yeah, she'll say. Yeah, she'll smile, isn't he?
Hiwat just kind of laughs very softly. And the dove, of course. Has she washed since she and Hiwat last spoke?
She's not. No. She's not particularly like. She's not covered in like filth. She's just
Sure.
yeah, and she doesn't obviously have any kind of body odor because she's a vampire.
Mhm.
Probably washes in the river once a week.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's definitely like dusty and muddy, and barefoot. So no.
There are many other people in the room that Hiwat is ignoring. And she continues to watch Tristan, who's lovely.
Yay?
Yay! Then I
Yeah,
think I
Margot
shall
will-
introduce myself.
Margot will. I'll say that Margot will way over. Are we gonna say Hiwat? But no, Hiwat is already next to her. She'll wave over Dristan.
Dresden is preoccupied and far too distracted to notice anybody waving at him, as he seems to marvel at architecture, artwork, colors, design.
But Margot is at 5. You notice her. No, but
You are a passing human in an endless sea of time.
Sir, you're speaking to a Toreador.
I look, man. I'm addressing
Roll
the
initiative.
All right, fine. Bring it. Let me strap on my belt. Nah, just
Hiwat is
kidding.
going to start gliding in that direction.
Is she
If
floating?
if he doesn't notice
Yeah.
Margot, then she will fetch him for her primogen. She is floating. She's floating. She has all the graces you'd expect of a Toreador. At 5, a level of grace that is clearly not natural. Heads turn, even jaded vampire eyes follow the likes of Margot and Hiwat. Good evening.
Ah. Oh,
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to
my
startle you.
apologies. My apologies. I did not notice your approach. My apologies.
There's no need. It is I who should
Hello.
apologize for startling you. I will be more careful.
Ah, no need, no need. Yes, hello. I was just admiring the scenery here.
How are you? It's, gotten a little tacky, but
Don't see a lot of construction work these nights, so of
don't you?
course not.
But the city is rebuilding just quietly. There's much respect to pay the dead. And noise is not respectful.
I would argue that, seeing as there are many rituals involving a lot of heavy and quite a lot amount of sound to honor the dead.
An interesting point. You're not wrong. And yet, few of them involve building buildings, which might be seen as paving over those bones.
Yes, but then again, building buildings loudly means that nobody gets enough sleep and people get angry and annoyed.
So you think the silence is for the sake of the living, then, and not the dead at all?
Do I? That is also an interesting point. Hello, my name's Tristan.
A Malkavian, then. She offers a graceful hand.
Oof, oof. Yes, no. He'll take it and do a little bow in front of her. Might I have your name, fair lady?
She bows gracefully without letting go of Tristan's hand and says, Hewat, Neonate of Clan Toreador. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, as I'm sure you hear often.
Yes.
She just nods and smiles and gives his hand a tiny squeeze before she lets it go.
Politely leaves it alone. Though not a member of Clan Malkavian.
Please forgive me. You have the flowery tongue of one. The curious insight into things which I'm afraid I am not well versed in.
If Clan Malkavian were the only one who had curious insight, I'd be very worried these nights.
Whose blood is it then that gives you your wisdom and your curiosity?
I hail from the blood of the Earth Mother.
There's a moment's silence, only just the barest moment, and then she gestures back towards Margot and says, Margot and my other NPC's name, who I've forgotten.
Ebony.
And thank you.
Everyone should forget that they don't exist.
Oh no. Won't you join us?
Why, I would love to. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm sure the pleasure would be ours.
Please do lead the way.
Does so. Is Aldrich going to come in while they're walking?
Sure.
Sure.
Aldrich comes in. Hi, everybody. No.
Why, hello there.
So, where is everybody else?
Oh, sorry. I'm apparently hosting Elysium. So that is a thing. It is being held in the Marble Hall, I believe it's called.
Long after its repairs, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's redecorating.
And it's redecorating. Yeet!
Saladrin is by the door at a desk, or near the door of the Red Room at a desk. Margot, Hewat, and Hebony and Tristan are about to be gathered together off to one side. The dove is wandering around, probably drifting that way, and there are various other NPCs around and about.
As Aldrich enters, because you have to pass my desk to get into the room, you'd almost think I strategically engineered this. The keeper raises his eyes from the scroll that he's reading, and he will say, Master Aldrich, a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, Aldrich just kind of proudly strides in, as I marry his entrance, and that's when he gets to the desk and he looks over. He says, "Have we met?"
Briefly, I'm led to understand, yes. I believe it was in the Omar Sadiq's shop at one point.
So it has been some time.
I am your host for the evening, Salah Hadrin, in case you don't remember my name. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, but then again, I could never forget such an eminent personage.
Imminent. You flatter me.
It is odd, as a matter of fact. I just, on the other evening, dispatched a letter to your honored Primogen, requesting an audience with the representatives of Clan Tremere, so maybe you and I shall be having another pleasant evening's conversation in the coming days.
Would appear so.
Please, the Elysium is open to you. If there's anything you desire, you have but to ask.
And I shall do so. He offers a polite bow that is full of etiquette. So full of etiquette.
He will respond with a seated bow. He's not going to stand up, but he will then go back to his papers.
When Keyword comes back with Tristan, she'll smile. Ah, Tristan is Tristan, is it?
That is my name, yes.
It is good to see you again. We met, but it was unfortunately brief. How are you?
I am quite well, thank you. The only place we could have possibly met was at that rather large crowd on the street where the sermon happened. Was it there? It must have been there. I feel like it was there.
It was.
Yes.
I am Lady Margot de Cornier of Clan. She'll say, I'm Lady Margot de Cornier, Primogen of Clan Toreador.
Oh! Why, it's an honor to meet you, Lady Primogen. I must thank you. You bathed my child.
And she'll smile. Oh, yes, Miriam.
Yes.
You bathed my child.
Everyone is welcome in my bathhouse. I
So
make
glad
it my
you have-
duty. She'll say, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just go ahead.
Yeah, she'll say, I make it my foremost duty to be pleasant and comfortable for anyone.
You have no idea how proud I was of her that she took a bath. I was so delighted. So delighted. Thank you ever so much.
His enhanced hearing having picked up the phrase, I do my best to be comfortable for everybody, Saladrin cannot help but almost snort with laughter. His mind immediately went to the gutter. It's fine, don't worry about it.
Sticks and pokes.
I'm glad I could help her. She seemed to. The bath seemed to please her.
Yes. She did quite well.
So you are a member of Clan Gangrel then?
Oh, yes. Little clan of wanderers. Going around, seeing things, telling stories. Not a whole lot.
Yes, and I've met a few of you. I traveled myself before I stopped here in Edessa.
Oh, where have you been?
And she'll say a few places: France, Spain. Before coming here, I'm not sure if they were called French in Spain back then, but yeah, she'll say this place.
Interesting. I have traveled quite a lot. I have been through the kingdoms of England, through France, through the states of the Roman Empire. I'm sure I'm just upsetting Robbie right now because I'm just wandering some things off.
And she'll smile and nod. Yeah, yes.
Walking through Greece was quite an experience.
It must be. I have not had the pleasure of going there yet.
Oh, go there. It's pure chaos.
How so?
Have you ever met the Greek?
I see. Wait, I think she knows one Greek. Yes, what's I mean, what? Irene, because I know of Irene.
Okay, she's an exception to the rule, mostly, I think.
Aren't there quite a lot of them? The Greek?
A lot, of course. There are many.
Oh, you must have been very busy.
Yes, I walked through the entire country. It was quite an experience.
I vastly misjudged your age.
Oh, now I am curious, Lady Hewat. What did you take me for?
She raises a brow and says, I don't know what you mean.
Excellent. Wonderful.
She's grinning. Like at this point she can't take her eyes off him, just she's kind of pleasantly fascinated and not ashamed to let it show.
But
though if Aldrich approaches, she turns to offer him a deep bow without quite ending the conversation. She'll move to include him as well. And the dove, if the dove approaches.
The dove has been off in a corner for some while. She appears to be talking to herself.
Okay. So Aldrich then.
But she will no, she'll kind of approach the group at this point. She'll kind of remain on the periphery of the of the group. She won't interrupt any conversation.
Go ahead, other Robbie.
Forever doomed to be up with.
What?
Forever doomed.
Aldrich returns the gesture, but he just kind of hangs out to get a feel for the conversation before he joins in.
Hello, Aldrich.
Good evening, my friend.
How are you?
Suppose I'm well. I hope you are as well.
I am now.
How's the night?
Sorry, go ahead.
How's the night treated our friends?
Oh, so you cut out a bit.
How has the night treated our friends?
I shall look. I believe everyone here is happy. I shall look at the other people.
Of them, Aldrich has not met Dristan. He'll actually take a step forward to offer a hand to shake, and he says, "Apologies, I'm afraid we've not met."
Oh, yes. Sorry. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
Does he take Aldrich's hand?
Yeah.
Excellent. Mid-handshake, he says, Aldrich the Wise, and Scylla of House Tremere. Your clan Tremere. Shit. See, he says clan. He says clan.
Ah, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Tristan, Clan Gangrel.
And he nods. When he says that, I hope you don't mind. I'd like to peony.
Sure. Which dice roll are we in?
Oh no, 3. That's 3.
Three successes.
3 successes. All right, so the jovial smile that's on Tristan's face does not disappear, doesn't change. Well, I mean, it does change. Kind of grows wider a bit as his eyes light up a bit, like, ah, hmm, hmm. He seems very interested now in your presence.
Mm-hmm. Aldrich, when their hands part, Aldrich folds his hands behind his back. Now that we're all acquainted, the nights have been well, I certainly hope.
My nights?
I say to everyone, of course, but yours as well.
Oh, well, mine have been terrific, thank you. Is anything burning?
You'll have to forgive me. My trade requires me to work near many a fire.
Ah,
I've just come from guild halls.
my apologies. Have you tried Primogen Margot's bath? They are amazing.
She'll smile.
I bathe as often as I may, as often as I can. But I'm afraid such volume of fire in such a business, this is inescapable.
Shame. Truly, a shame.
You grow accustomed to it.
He says, "It is a shame. If you should ever wish company, my Lord Aldrich, I would be happy to accompany you."
To my place of work, to the baths.
I have been to your place of work and found it lovely, but I meant to the baths.
See, perhaps.
I am, of course, she makes a self-effacing gesture and says, a frequent customer of Aldrich the Wise.
I'm curious now. What is it that you do, Aldrich the Wise?
I'm a chandler by trade.
Oh, you make candles?
That I do.
Fascinating. How is that business? I imagine the nobility and royalty must be paying good money. Oh no. Well, yes. So forgive me, the last time I encountered a chandler was a couple of years ago.
So, jolly fellow, I hope.
I didn't quite catch that, Robbie.
Said, is that so? A jolly fellow, I hope.
Yes. He was. At least I think he is. I hope he's still here. It was quite a long time ago.
I see. Well, there always need to be light in the darkest of spaces, where one inhabits. Whether it is needed, I'm more than happy to supply.
He takes a step back and reaches an arm out to gently draw the dove into the circle and says, "Ah, look, it is our own light, here in the darkness."
Dove looks up, slightly surprised, and just nods to everyone. Good evening to you all.
Good evening, my dear. How have you been?
Quite fine. She actually appears to kind of she has her hand. One of her hands is completely concealed by a kind of long sleeve, and she kind of appears to be holding it close to her body. Quite fine. How are you all?
Good. I shall look to everyone.
Jittering.
Ebony, this is the one of which we spoke earlier. Dove, this is Hebony of Clan Asimite, Aldrich the Wise of Clan Tremere, Gangrel, fuck me, I shouldn't make characters that do introductions, Dristan of Clan Gangrel. I know you've met Marco, my primogen.
I have. I also met Albrecht.
I apologize, of course, I was there.
Such a spiel of introductions.
It is good to meet you all.
As it is good to meet you. I hope the last few nights have been treating you well.
They have. The city is revealing itself to me.
At this point, Solderin's going to stand up from his desk. He has a servant follow him as he is very casually peeling a pomegranate, or as he splits a pomegranate. The servant is just going to stand behind him to hold the other half of a pomegranate he's not eating. But he will make his way over towards the conversation, pomegranate carrier in tow. He is eating, obviously, one half of the pomegranate. But he will arrive and he will say, "Are we all having a pleasant evening? Pleasant evening? Pleasant evening."
Yes.
A lot of introductions.
That tends to happen when you're new.
This is true. I keep forgetting this.
I was going to say, I mean, it all depends upon the value you place upon a name. For in theory, you could simply be you and I could simply be I, but then again, that would get incredibly complicated at dinner parties.
Yes. Hmm.
Ebony lets the silence stretch for an awkwardly long time and smiles at Slaughter and says, "Oh, you must be a treat at dinner parties."
What can I say? I make every meal matter. He says, looking back at Ebony with a pleasant smile.
Do you? Or is that
Absolutely.
simply a pleasantry?
Not at all. I find anyone who plays with their food to be vulgar in the extreme.
On that we can agree.
Indeed.
Tonight is pleasant.
I'd just like to show everybody what Tristan does when these two are talking.
Thank you for existing, Max. He will seat himself on one of the couches that is nearby, so he's still in the conversation before he will say, my dear Dove, you appear to have burned a wing."
As I said, the city is revealing itself to me.
How did you come by such a hurt?
I was curious.
The fire still burns, after all.
Out of character, does he know it's a burn?
Hmm?
She's got her hand wrapped in her sleeve. Does he know it's a burn?
Oh, I thought it was wrapped in bandage or a bandage. Fuck no. I was just going by if you have your hand wrapped in something. He doesn't actually know it's a burn. It was more so he was using the phrase "the fire still burns us" as kind of a yes, dear, we can still be hurt by things, because he thinks that she is new and silly. It's not that he actually knows it's a burn.
Sure. Just clarifying.
Yep.
I'm sure I will be quite fine. But thank you for your consideration, Lord Saladrin.
Please, just Saladrin. I'm so tired of this Lord, this Keeper. I suppose I can live with, but Lord, please not. I was born a slave in a very far away place. I am still a slave now, just to a higher calling.
A very well-dressed slave.
He's not actually that well dressed. I will point out, like his clothing is well made, but it's not by any means like ridiculously ostentatious. So you know, I mean, maybe a traveler or a merchant, but like not somebody who's like ridiculously affluent
Or Clan Toreador.
or Plantorider.
You know what is ridiculously dressed, for the record.
Aldrich, if we're going for the record, Aldrich is wearing very fine Toreador made robes.
I am wearing clothes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm pretty sure Margot is wearing pretty fine clothing too.
The dove is wearing her finest rags and mud.
Ah, so what you're saying is she also needs to get introduced to the bathhouse face first at high velocities.
Many comments have been made about bathing with her. She's been in the water recently.
Get submerged in fucking get submerged in the fountain. Has sad day. But no, he'll say, very good, very good. Yes, I mean, I must admit, I've been contemplating and I've been contemplating. I've been racking my mind about future entertainments for the court, because apparently that is what I do now. I put on pony shows. Maybe I'll involve dogs one day. Who knows? So I'm curious, what entertainments would any of you be interested to see in the fine city of Edessa? After all, the nights are so long and stretch on so endlessly. Diversion is really the only thing.
Where does the niche of the court lie?
Well, that's entirely impossible to say, Monsignor Driston. After all, so many different people care for so many different things.
If I may,
Mm.
my experience in the city of Odessa, I found poetry readings rather exciting.
A fascinating idea. M.A., what's wrong with poetry? I'm confused.
Just don't ever try to read poetry unless your loins are well girded and you are well armed. Not in Odessa.
And Chris is asleep.
Chris is asleep.
Context. Anyone? Okay.
There was fire.
Like 4 times later.
Okay. Poetry reading could be. Personally, at the moment, I'm thinking of a race, as a matter of fact. A race between here and Timuran and back. An evening's diversion, the chance for individuals to show their skills at horsemanship, breeding, as well as other more interesting niches. The chance to place wagers. An evening's entertainment.
At least that would attract some and reject others. You're right, it must be quite hard. I've never bothered to think about it.
Well, for example, I at one point held a gladiatorial combat, but then again, certain people enjoyed the concept, certain didn't. You just have to be willing to cater for both palates, as it were.
Well, I myself enjoy a good story.
A story.
Yes.
I will make you a deal. Sir Tristane.
Already?
I'm a Setite. We tend to love our deals.
That is a okay.
A story told by you for a story told by me.
Hewat actually kind of moves eagerly and says, "There's a stage in the other room. With comfortable, or at least, forgive me, there was before."
I believe it is in fact still there. But do you accept, Sir Tristane? A story for a story, a tale for a tale, a yarn for a yarn.
That would depend on the details. What kind of story? Who's going to be it? Who's going to tell it? Who will it be told to? Will it be a story from me to you? Will it be a story from you to me? Will it be a story for the general public here?
A story for the general public here. You will tell a story, or rather, I do not mind the order, but if you will tell a story, I will happily tell one in exchange, or I will tell a story and you will reciprocate with one in exchange.
Out of character, I have none prepared.
Neither do I. I'm just fucking winging this.
I'm fucking terrible at coming up with shit on the fly.
It need not be tonight. But of course I would hope that you would give us the opportunity to invite others that would most certainly be interested. If there is to be a contest of craft.
Yes, an excellent idea, Lady Hewat. Why don't we hold a symposium, an artistic event? Those of Edessa who possess the performing arts to perform.
Oh, that's been done. I just hoped for a good story.
My dear, it's been done, as you say. However, it hasn't been done by me.
I would like to make a note. I dislike the idea of this being a contest. I do not believe there are bad stories. I do not believe there are good stories. There are simply stories. I could tell you one about a member of my clan who had convinced a prince somewhere in the region of Wallachia that the area was haunted, and so he pissed blood in the walls of Elysium. But I could also tell you about one that met with an ancient being far up north. Both are stories, and neither one of them are bad.
I must say, I agree with Christian.
Every story, as I was told, is 3 parts truth, 7 parts lies, and 1 part what you can make the audience believe.
Is this person perhaps a chef?
Who is this Mashalem guy? Like, I'm just looking at it in the side chat and just like, it keeps popping up. What the fuck is it?
Little gangrel buddy.
There's a smelly pile of rags off to one side, behind Margot.
Okay,
Is it occupied?
no, not behind Margot. Margot is not letting this motherfucker behind her.
But who is it, though?
In that case, Margot, roll your perception alertness.
He's a charming fellow.
Well, he is when you're not alone with him. And then Margot...
I'm so tempted to make Mershulam one of the guards of Elysium because it amuses me no end.
Yeah, he's behind you. It's okay, he's just sitting here. He's just a little pile of rags, not bothering anybody.
The dove is actually going to, when she sees him, she's going to go over.
You've got to roll it too, mister.
Okay. What am I rolling?
To perceive him, do we have to roll it?
Perception alertness. Unless you are standing facing Margot.
That's a good question. What if if you're facing Margot, you probably can't perceive him.
No, if you're facing Margot, you can see him. But if you're next to Margot or not particularly watching.
Is it alright if I say that Aldrich is because Margot kind of pulled Aldrich into the or Kiwat did. That's right.
Kiwat is definitely standing next to Margot.
I will go with whatever.
The appearance of the room tilts in one direction, and it's the direction that these two are standing in.
And then there's something ugly.
Nope, sorry, Robbie.
I don't see him.
Drobby.
Robert. It was
The dove, Robbie. It was. You were an ST before. Now you're the dove, so you're Drobby.
Oh, Drobby. Just Dobby.
Okay.
Dobby.
That's acceptable. Now you're Dobby.
Dobby with the stuff. Dobby is a Nosferatu. I'm done now. Evan can die happy. It's fine. I'll also make the roll to see him. I did pop on my Auspex, so that is still running. Hey, there's a pile of rags over there. Hey, there's a Nos over there. Question, is he actually like... Is he on a cushion?
No.
Okay. Solidron walks over. He picks up a cushion, and he picks up one of the large seating cushions, or the thing he's sitting on, and he places the cushion next to the pile of rags, and he just says, at least sit on the on the upholstery provided. It doesn't matter. We can burn it later.
What?
We can burn it later.
Fucking perfect. Best way. Excellent way. Yes, that is the right way to treat a low clan. Go you.
I'm also a low clan, but it's because he actually likes Mershulam.
I too am a low clan. Low clans unite and low clan divide.
Anybody who wishes can now follow Saladrin's movement over to see Meshulam as he growls quietly. You are too kind, my lord.
We just had this conversation. Keeper is fine, my lord is not. Thank you, I'm no one's lord, honestly.
Honored keeper.
There we
You
go.
are too kind.
Are you having an agreeable night tonight?
I heard there were stories being told. It was about to be very agreeable.
Well, Master Dryden, as I said, I'm happy to tell a story if you're happy to weave a yarn.
Let me wing this shit. You go first.
We shall do it here. There's no sense in firing to the other room to the stages. Would you not agree?
Yes. Let's do so.
Very well. He will contemplate for a moment, and he will say, Where to begin? A story for a story. A story for a story. Shall we keep these short, I sense, so as not to drag on too long? A short tale.
Can it be a short tale which later on can be further told?
Very well. Once there was that a scorpion wended and twisted his way along a stream in an attempt to make his way to his home, which was located on the opposite bank. And so it was his little pincers clacked, and his little feet moved left and right, left and right, left and right, until he came to where the bridge should be, only to find that in the swelling rains that poured from heaven above, the bridge, oh no, had been washed away. And so it was that the scorpion despaired. He cried to heaven, No, oh no, what shall I do? For I cannot get home, and I am so far away. Upon hearing the scorpion's wailing lamentations, it drew the attention of a frog. A frog, a great monarch of the stream, who sat on his lily pad like some forgotten king sits upon his throne. Great and wide his mouth yearned open as it devoured yet another fly, an offering sent by the river mother in order to sustain him. Delicious, I'm sure. And the scorpion looked to the frog and said, friend frog, can you carry me upon your back to the other side of this river? For if not, the night is coming, and I will surely die from the cold. The frog beheld the scorpion in his gaze, his large bulbous eyes, taking in every detail, from its shiny carapace into the poison that glistened on its stinger, and he said, but how can I trust you, little scorpion? For if you do so, if I carry you upon my back across the stream, you will sting me, and then I will surely die. And the scorpion answered him, no, friend frog, for you, after all, if you drown as we attempt to cross the river, then I must surely die. The frog contemplates this, and he thinks, before eventually he will decide that yes, indeed, he must do the good thing, for after all, the waters had so blessed him and so cursed another. How could he balance his spirit if he were not to do so? And so the scorpion was allowed onto the back of the great frog as they set off across the river. The bank on the opposite end was in sight, when the frog felt a great pain in his back. He felt venom course through his veins. He felt his heart freeze in a moment. And the last thing he heard on this earth, as he cried out in lamentation, but why, scorpion? For now we will both surely die. And the scorpion simply answered, 'Twas in my nature to do so. 'Twas in my nature to be as I am. And the frog cried, but you will die with me. And the scorpion simply responded, no, friend frog, I can swim.
Small tale. Good and to the point. Yes, I do quite like it.
Do you favor tales of treachery?
I favor tales of truth. After all, a snake will always bite because it is in his nature to do so. A scorpion will always sting because that is in its nature. To deny one's nature is the greatest of follies.
Well, technically, a snake can also trap and constrict. Not all snakes bite.
In the end, in order to finish, I assure you, a snake will bite.
Meaningful. Mine is a bit different. Some time ago, perhaps it was yesterday, perhaps it was the cycle of a moon, perhaps many decades ago. There was once, on the borders of the fiefdoms of the Black Cross and the Zemisi Voivodades, a crusade. Not one like the ones that we know happen these days, that the mortals track through these distant lands from other distant lands to bring their faith. But one of ours. When Cainite walked with Cainite. When monster walked with monster. When legend walked with myth. They formed something unexplainable. They followed something inexplicable. Alien and beyond measure. The crusade was dubbed the Bloodless Crusade, not because it was without violence, not because these Cainites show mercy to anybody involved, but because they did not need to consume blood. they were freed of the everlasting hunger that pulls at our every move.
Truly.
And so they set forth, following this thing that called to them, and slowly but surely their numbers rose, walking step by step by step, ever onward. Of course, this raised many an eye from prominent scholars to small-time storytellers. All looked at this crusade and went, how is this possible? What is this thing? None of them could answer it. None of them could ask. But when they thought the crusade would head in one direction, it would be someplace entirely different. One being, though. There has only been records of one being ever to have walked with the crusade. A creature called Roderick of Spain. One does not know if it was Cainite, if it was Lupine, if it was one of the Wizened, if it was one of the Shining Ones. Perhaps it was something else entirely. But Roderick of Spain walked with the Bloodless Crusade. His accounts state that it was like walking within the cradle of life, walking towards a mother's gentle touch, walking towards a father's fair discipline. This nourished them and they didn't need blood anymore. Radiance, divinity, darkness. Who knows what it was that nourished and fed them, but one thing is for certain, they could use their powers, their gifts, their abilities without calling upon anything. But slowly and surely, this presence started to take its toll. There were those that dropped out, left, not continue, or perhaps they were destroyed, vanquished. And where the Bloodless Crusade ended up is perhaps a story for another time. One that I will tell and finish later.
Shall I say where? I should wish to be in that place.
I don't know. After all, it's just a story.
Just find one nevertheless.
A story for a story told. A good plan.
I'll go with Rise. I've got one that is not too long.
Please?
I shall stand up. In a wood that was owned by a noble man lived a wolf. But the wolves were good hunters and protected the woods well. So if this poor wolf had nothing but bones on, nothing but his fur on his bones and his it wouldn't be long before he would die of hunger. Looking for food, he met upon a dog, a great dog, big and brave and as beautiful as it came, his fur glimmering, his tummy full, and his eyes ever ready. The wolf thought about attacking him, but with the size of the dog and with the state he was in, he quickly came to the realization that it would be useless. He would die. And so he approached the wolf. He approached the dog, smiling, complimenting him on his fur, on his beautiful eyes, on how good his stomach looked, full. And the dog simply answered him, "Oh, but it is only up to you. What are you doing here, living in the woods? You do not know when your next meal is. You do not own anything. You do not affect anything in the state you're in. Why not follow me back to my home, where the master will feed you all the meat you want, and you'll be caressed, patted. You will be given all the love men can give you, those warm human hands." And so the wolf smiled and said, "Well, it seems like a pleasing offer. Please, guide me to your home." As the two creatures walked, the wolf saw something, a marking, red, and on the dog's throat, somewhere where the fur wasn't growing or wasn't as thick as it was on the rest of his body. "Excuse me, Sir Dog." "Yes, my friend," answered the dog. "What is this marking on your neck?" "Oh, well, you see, for when we are not hunting, the master puts us on a leash." And at that, the wolf looked down and began walking away. The dog called to him, "Oh, but why are you walking away? We are only attached for a certain part of the day." "What is that? What does it matter being attached when we get all the food we want, all the love we want, and anything we want?" And the wolf simply smiled and looked back at him. "It matters so much that for that price, I would not take all the treasures in the world." And then the wolf simply went away, and it is told that he is still able to run wherever he pleases to this day.
Tale of freedom. And how every moment of it should be treasured.
Yes.
Hiwat is staring at the dove, and she says, "Now I see. Please forgive me, I have someone I must speak to." And she bows to the gathered K-Knights, gives Margot a smile of blinding affection, and reaches over to touch Aldrich's sleeve gently, and then eases into the crowd.
Sorry, what did she say to the dove?
"Now I see."
The dove looks a little confused and watches her go. What did
Her
your-
expression is petulant.
What does your clanmate mean, Lady Margot?
I am not sure.
Dove
Did you
looks-
like my story, Dove?
She considers for a moment. I did not dislike it.
She'll smile.
I'm curious then, Dove, which one of our stories rang the truest with you?
There's no need for a story to ring true.
Must there always be a competition?
I would be a poor judge, and I've come to Elysium today not to make more enemies, so I would rather not.
You've made enemies. My.
Ah. Primogen Margot, if we could perhaps talk at a later point, there's something I'd like to ask you.
Of course, my bathhouse is always open, and I am there most of the time if I am not, if I haven't been asked to be somewhere else.
Excellent. Wonderful. Most exciting.
I'm afraid I must leave for this evening. Thank you, everyone. You have all been such a wonderful company.
Thank you.
May shadows forever find your footsteps, Primogen.
Thank you. And with that, she'll leave. I don't have too much longer, guys, so yeah.
Yeah, we can. I
And
think we can wrap it up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And see you on another episode of Edessa, the Dark Crusade.